And then she calls me back, my neighbor, and she just goes, "Sweetie, what unit are you?" And I'm like, 605. And then it just goes like dead silent. And I'm like, Jan, what the hell is going on? What do you mean? What's going on? What's going on? Answer me. And she's just like, here's the chief marshal, the firefighter marshal. He wants to talk to you. And he's like, "Are you the owner of 605? And I go, yeah. And he goes, "Okay, sweetie, you need to get home as quickly and as safely as possible." I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, it's your unit. Your unit started the fire.
All right, so welcome back to Out of Chaos podcast, episode 26. Dude, it's kind of informal, but it's officially a year since we started.
Yo, that's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
1 year, yeah.
That's about, bro.
We're gonna do something. Actually, I wanted to tell you about it. We were doing like a merch launch.
Right on. So, you sent me pictures.
Yeah. So we're gonna do it officially maybe next week. Like an actual, like probably launch.
Yeah.
But kind of just to get it out there before it actually.
The shirts look amazing.
Oh, they do. I'm so gonna wear them.
If you're a fan of like black with the magenta color contrast, then you'll probably
Did you come up with that?
Yeah, I mean that's our logo, right? And I actually saw it on a shirt. Shout out to La Latina. She's a restaurant here in Toronto. My friend, he manages it, but they have an actual that color and contrasted with black. It looks really good. It pops out really nice.
And the back, you've got the Toronto skyline.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Toronto based. Yeah. But I think for me, it was like the logo, which is like emerge from chaos. That's kind of what we talk about right here.
Yes, exactly.
But for today's guest, we have a returning guest. I was actually gonna. Do you remember what episode it was? 16?
It was like it was
earlier.
Yeah, it was like before 10. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my! She's one of the OGs, like the original. So Serena, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Thank you. You know how you been? Like it's been, honestly, that episode with you was pretty good. Like a lot of people give me good feedback and
great.
Your kidnapping story and
it hasn't happened since. So they probably watched it and they're like, "This girl's gonna call me out," so I probably shouldn't do anything. Safe. Yeah.
No, but I think people were concerned. Like, oh my god, like
I'm here. What do you mean concerned? I survived. Just be aware, you know.
Yeah, that's your survival story.
Yeah,
exactly. You're a survivor.
My villain story.
Yeah, but what else is new? What have you been up to?
Well, we haven't talked in 5 months.
I know.
I mean, we do talk, but every time you try to get me back on, something happens.
Yes.
It's probably going to be in the title of this, so we can break the ice. My condo burned down.
Oh man. Oh, yeah. I remember that happened a couple months ago.
It's like on 6 Buzz.
What happened?
Yeah.
It was on 6 Buzz?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shoot! I didn't see that.
People were sending me it. They're like, "Is this your place?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's my place." I didn't know it was my. Okay, I'll get into it. So it happened August 16th. It was a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I went with my mother, my good friend. He was going to take us to the islands to do barbecue and go on the boat. You know, just have a good time. It was like, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And She's just replaying it over and over. Okay, so we get to the island. We get there around like 2:33, and we're making food, we're drinking whatever. And then my neighbor, who's a good lady, she's like in her 70s, and she texted me, and I'm like, okay. And she's like, "Where the F are you?" And I'm like, "I'm on the islands. What are you doing?" Like, okay. She goes, "Thank God it's a zoo over here." I'm like, "Zoo? I just left my place."
Yeah.
I'm like, "A zoo? What happened?" She goes, "Our building's on fire."
Holy.
I'm like, okay. And I'm like drinking and I'm like chugging shots. I'm like, I can't handle this. What do you mean your building's on fire? And she goes, "And it's our floor." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's on the 6th floor?" She's like, "I think it's the person right in front of me who is my neighbor," which is direct from her. And I'm like, "What happened?" And she didn't even know. She was like, "I think somebody passed out and the oven was on. We don't know." Like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, "Okay, just keep me updated." She goes, like, "Okay, I'll try." So I tell my mom, and she's like, "Oh, that's crazy, right?" Nobody ever thinks it's yours.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right. Nobody
so my friend from school is like, "I'm outside your building." She's sending me photos. And I remember my balcony. So it's right off Queensway in Islington. Okay. It's the movie theater.
Yeah.
Cineplex. And it's right in front of it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So you can drive by right now and you'll see it like in maintenance and stuff.
Damn.
Oh,
so
man.
She sends me a picture. She goes, "Is any of these yours?" And I'm trying to remember. Everything is just in flames and it's just black. And I'm like, I think that's mine. Like the one beside it. And she goes, "I think your balcony's gone." I'm like, "My balcony's gone?" So I'm calling out my uncle, I'm calling out my family, my brothers. I'm like, oh my God, the balcony's gone. And they're like, okay, it's just a balcony. Like, whatever. Like, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, well, we got to go there. So my friend, we didn't eat anything. We're like there for 20 minutes and or maybe longer. I don't know. And then he's like, okay. I'm like, I got to go. But like, should we go? We don't know. And then she calls me back, my neighbor, and she just goes, sweetie, what unit are you? And I'm like, 605. And then it just goes like dead silent. And I'm like, Jan, what the hell is going on? What do you mean? What's going on? What's going on? Answer me. And she's just like, here's the chief marshal, the firefighter marshal. He wants to talk to you. And he's like, are you the owner of 605? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And he goes, okay, sweetie, you need to get home as quickly and as safely as possible. I'm like, why? And he's like, it's your unit. Your unit started the fire.
Oh, damn.
I'm about to faint. So I hand my mom the phone and she's about to faint. And then we're like, okay. And it's funny because we were on the island. And I don't know if you've been to it, but you have to like walk like 20 minutes to get to the boat. So we're just dragging our stuff. My friend makes us like leave everything, just go. So me and my mom, we're just walking. We're like,
oh man,
and just walk. Oh, I just can't remember that. And then we get on this boat on the stupid ferry, and I tell them like, listen, I need like my own ferry, like I need to go right now. And then and we're like on the pirate ferry.
The tiki taxi.
Yeah, because we're desperate, right?
Have you been to the island, bro? They got this company called Tiki Taxi. It's actually started by these guys of the U of T. Yeah, and it's super sick. We gotta go. I'll take you this summer.
Tiki Taxi.
Make sure I don't know. I just remember just seeing fucking pirate flags, and like we're just like on the water, just, and I'm like, oh man. Oh, shit, house on fire.
The worst.
And then we get off. My mom's like, because you know the police station's right off on Queens Quay. I'm pretty sure. And then she's like, find an officer, explain the situation. The house is like 10 minutes, get him to like drive us there. Like we're desperate. Like it's like your world's falling apart, right?
Yeah.
So I go up to a cop and I'm like, listen, can you just drive me to my place? And he's like looking at me like I'm crazy. He like didn't believe me. He's like, let me radio this in. I'm like,
damn.
So he goes, yeah. He goes, well, and what? I'm not a taxi. I'm like,
oh,
I mean,
Jesus.
Okay. So I get an Uber. Love that guy.
Oh, anyways, he didn't? The police driver didn't?
Nope. He was like, your problem.
Wow.
Officer didn't? Oh, wow, man.
I know. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But you can expect them. It's not like I'm on fire, which I get. I don't know. I'm trying to make excuses.
I mean, it would be nice for him to do.
You could have called someone.
Yeah, it's an emergency. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's like 10 minutes away. So we get the Uber, and I tell the guy, and he's like, it's okay, I'm gonna drive you there. This guy's like going through lights, like he's like like as if it's his place. Love that guy. 5-star rating.
Nice. 5-star rating. Shout out to that Uber guy.
And then my mom and we would just start breaking down. I'm like, I love you, Mom. She's like, I love you too. Like, and I'm thinking, because I think everybody thinks about, if your place goes on fire, what are the 3 things you want to grab? And my thing, I was like, I don't really have anything. Maybe my laptop and a teddy bear, whatever. Yeah. But at this point, I'm like, nothing is there. So we get there, and I just remember all these fire trucks. You couldn't even turn into the Queensway, so we had to get off, and then we had to walk, and they wouldn't let people who didn't live in the building be on the street. So I'm like, this is my building. So we walk there, and I just remember everybody outside just stops, freezes, and just looks at us. We've been only living there for 2 years, and I'm like, oh my God. And then my uncle's there, my family's there. And then the fire marshal pulls us aside. It's like the scariest thing, because the first thing he said is, nobody died. And you don't think about that. Like on my way there, I'm just thinking, oh my God, my teddy bear. But it's true. Nobody died. And that
thank God.
Was like the biggest relief out of everything. And I'm like, you know what? You're so right. He goes, not even a pet. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, great. And then time goes by, and then they're like, so the fire's put out, everything's okay. You have to go upstairs and try to see what you could salvage. And he's just like, I'm going to warn you, 80% of everything is gone. I'm like, okay.
Yikes.
So it's like weird, like talking about it. Okay. So
I can imagine.
Take your time, man.
We get on the 6th floor, and it's like, like a video game. Like the lights are flashing. The floor is all flooded. There's like handprints on the wall. Like you're like, where the hell did I just walk in? And then we go into my place, and everything is just, it's not ash. It's just black
and charred.
And then the bedroom is just all gone. So you can go on my Instagram, Serena Al Hakim, and I posted a video.
Yeah.
And of everything that's just gone. Like you can't even tell what was there.
Yeah.
God.
And the first thing I said, I was like, oh, got him good. Like, like, damn, this is crazy. And my mom's like, where did you come from? Like, we just left. Like, what happened? Where did this? Oh my God. And then that's when all like the investigation questions start coming and like, did you leave anything on? What, like, I don't know. I can't remember. So what they figured out was it for sure happened on the balcony.
It started
on the balcony.
Oh, wow.
Like your balcony.
My balcony.
Holy shit.
It caught on fire on my balcony. I'm like, wait, okay. My mom and I had nothing on there. Like, nothing electrical, no barbecue, no fire pit, nothing on there.
Because there's like Toronto code that like prohibits a bunch of stuff on the balcony. Yeah. Nothing flammable. You can't have any electrical thing. You can't even store stuff on the balcony.
No, that's so true. You can't even store stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so we're trying to figure it out, whatever. And then my mom, we go downstairs and she's like, I know what it is. And I'm like, what happened? She goes, it's a effing cigarette butt. It landed on her balcony. I know that's what it is because we've been living there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And we've had nothing for the first like couple years, year and a half. And my mom kept finding cigarette butts on her balcony.
Yeah. Okay.
Constantly.
Gotcha.
And one time she found a lit one and she didn't take a pic. No, I think she did. And then she went to the property manager and she was like, listen, I find these cigarette butts. What are you going to do about it? And the property manager said, unless you can find me the perpetrator or what unit it's from, there's nothing I can do for you.
Your mom's a real one. Like, my mom would have been like, Sachin, why are you smoking? I mean, like, no, it's not me.
And they're like dad cigarettes. Like, I don't know. Like, they're like, I don't know. Like,
yeah. With like those
whatever, like the brown ones. Like, nobody smokes those.
Dad cigarettes?
Marlboros.
Yeah. Canadian classics. I don't know. I'm not a smoker. I don't know. So then the woman says, there's nothing I can do for you. And she's like, great. And 4 days before the fire, we put a couch set on. So I know that this cigarette caught up because they just fell, but they were landing on nothing.
Right.
So they landed on the couch. This is my assumption. The investigation is still going on. So I can't say for sure, and I'm not confirming until it is. But this is my theory that a cigarette fell on it. And because it happened on the balcony and there was nothing, it doesn't make sense. And I wasn't home. If I saw something, I would have put it out,
Yeah.
So that burned everything. And then that Sunday was a really windy day.
Yeah.
And it burned the unit beside and then the unit beside because the wind was blowing so hard. And the woman in the middle, she was sleeping and she woke up because also I don't know what's going on in this investigation, but the alarms didn't go off in the building.
What?
Somebody from the other building called, but I spoke to a firefighter and he goes, there's no smoke alarms on balconies, right? But I don't know, it's really complicated. I don't know how it works. And somebody on our floor pulled the alarm and everybody got out.
Yeah.
So everything is gone, like everything.
God
but
damn.
our family photo albums were saved.
Really?
Isn't that so
no
cool?
way.
That's all we thought about, like pictures of us as kids and everything, and they were all okay. You just open it and it just like burnt at the corner and wet, like that was it. So my neighbor took them and left them out to dry on her balcony. And then I spoke to like a forensic guy for house fires, and he said every time you're in a fire and your pictures get damaged from water damage, put them in the freezer and it'll preserve them so mold doesn't grow on them. So we put them all in the freezer. It's something I learned, and it's been true. They're all intact and they're all okay. My brother's like one by one just scanning them and everything, and like they're fine. And that was the only thing that me and my mother wanted to be saved, and that's everything. And also so we went back the next day and we go to her closet, and like all the soot and everything is on top, and I know we had a case of videos when we were kids.
Okay.
So I dug through, literally like died, but like I dug through and I found those videos at the very bottom because everything fell on top of it. So those were got saved. And I'm like, wow, out of everything, because the one thing people say to me, they're like, this happened to you. Like, how does it feel? Like, do you wish you brought something with you? Do you wish things turned out differently? I'm like, yeah, like obviously I wish my house didn't burn down, but I'm a very, I like to think I'm a half glasses full kind of person, and I'm very realistic, and I think that bad things happen to good people. I'm not saying I'm good, but bad things just happen to people, and I just happen to be one of those people.
Yeah, no, facts.
That's it.
I'm also living proof that bad things happen to good people. Like, freaking, I've been on such a bad luck streak. Oh my, this guy knows about it all, but like, I went from riding off my car, literally like getting a concussion, I was in hospital for New Year's. Like it's just.
Oh, with this recently?
Like yeah.
48 hours ago.
like
48 hours.
Literally, like for real. Like yeah,
Oh
it's just been like bad. And before that,
Yeah.
like freaking running into like financial issues and school problems and it just never stops.
Yeah,
but, like,
no, it is.
It can't rain forever. I keep telling myself, you know that, like it can't.
When I was like distraught,
yeah,
and my friend got us a hotel room for 2 nights, and my uncle goes, "I have a place for you. You're gonna be okay. Just hold on." And we just went there. We took a shower and everything. And the one thing I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, nobody died.
Exactly.
My mom's alive. I'm alive.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody died, I wouldn't even give a crap about the things that burnt.
Right.
This would be a completely different mindset. I'm sad over what? Freaking Michael Kors purse, please. You can buy that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then like my mom being alive. Like what if she stayed home that day? Because it happened on the balcony. And we couldn't get out. Anything could have happened because it happened on your property. Like things like the door actually melted and the firefighters had to break through the door. Like if the door melted and it's on fire, the smoke would have got you. Would have been dead in seconds.
Yeah.
And my mom and I just say that. I'm like, I really don't care. Like I actually don't care about my stuff burning down. Like I really don't. And oh gosh, like it just sucks. It just sucks. That's just what it is. It's not traumatized. And yeah, it is. And sure, I catch myself in little PTSD moments. Like the new place that I'm at temporarily has a gas stove.
Okay.
And when I hear that the clicks and then the fire and the little fire, I like shut it off completely because I'm like, oh my god, fire! Like and I'm like, oh crap, is this PTSD?
It could be. It
definitely is.
You could still be in shock, like to a certain extent. You know.
Yeah, and I think it's mind over matter too.
Mm-hmm.
So I told myself after all this happened, I'm like, listen. 5 months from now, even a month from now, you're not going to be sad about this like you are now. Let it out so you don't hold it in. And, if you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody.
Exactly. The more we talk about it, the better.
And that's what it was. And my mom got a therapist. I wanted to lay out on it because my friends were there for me and they let me vent and everything. And people were calling me and it just helped. And I just thought about it. Like my one friend, he goes, okay, and okay.
Yeah,
what are you going to do? You're going to
life goes on.
Okay, and your house burned down. A lot of people's house burned down. A lot of people go through floods. People go through things.
Right.
Nobody died. Like because if somebody died, I think that guilt. I would not be able to sleep at night, even though I know it's not my fault.
Right.
Just knowing I'm my property is responsible for a death.
Right.
That could have been prevented, if anything.
Yeah.
But nobody did, so I'm just like, pour me a glass of wine and I'll get over it.
Yeah.
How's your mom doing though right now?
Oh my god, she's doing okay. She was doing really good. She it's harder for her because she lost 60 years. I lost 24 years. She lost 60 years worth of things.
Yeah.
I lost 24. It's not comparable.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me it feels like somebody just grabbed me and just threw me on the street with whatever I wore that day. Just whatever I had.
I can imagine that.
Like it's whatever. This is what you have. Oh, you had that one pencil. That's what you're going to have moving forward.
Right. Because we all have those trinkets, from like years ago. Oh, I got this on this trip.
And she says that now. Oh my gosh. She literally says, she goes, oh shit, I just remembered this. Oh crap, I just remembered this. Oh, I just remember that. I just remember that.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because there's like a conspiracy in my building that it was like premeditated because the day we went to the
by whoever did it,
like somebody in my building started a rumor that like it was premeditated because the day we went to the islands, we brought a little suitcase full of like picnic stuff, and somebody was like, "Oh, I saw them come down with picnics, like with a suitcase."
No way.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, you don't think I would have taken my Louis Vuitton bag? Like, you don't think I would have taken a little this? You think I'm taking freaking forks and knives? Like, check the bag.
A PB&J.
No, literally napkins and."
I can't. Like whoever started that rumor just wants to cause like. Issues.
I think it's funny though, but that's the thing. Everybody's trying to point the finger. Everybody's trying to blame somebody.
Yeah,
and I actually don't blame them. I mean, they're angry. Some people can't go back for a while.
Yeah,
it's gonna be. It looks like April. It's gonna be ready to go back in.
Okay.
It's just because of COVID, there's a lot of backstock for like the glass and the checking and the safety protocols and stuff. So it's a long process, and I know it's not going to be over, especially legally, which I've been reading a lot about because the contract between our building is unless it's arson, you can't sue each other.
Right. Exactly.
So. But I personally think it's arson because they ignored our cigarette complaints. So I think it's negligence, personally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Especially if you, like you said, your mom took that picture, right?
And all they had to do was send an email out, you know? And they didn't do that.
They didn't do a single thing.
Not even an email?
They actually just did it like 2 weeks ago. sent to stop throwing the
to try to cover their asses. Yeah, no, the investigation is going to show that that's like after the fact, like way after.
And like I said, like I don't want to start anything. I'm not confirming it. This is just my own personal information that I've collected.
Yeah.
Because I joined the little Facebook group that they have for the building, and somebody actually posted, I just found a cigarette butt on my balcony, even after the whole fire. So people are still doing it because the building is not putting out
the law, the mandating the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
so it's a tough process,
trouble.
But it's a long, and it's not going to be over. But like, I'm ready. Like, bring it on. Like,
yeah,
like I lost my teddy bear. It's personal. This is personal.
This is personal now.
So yeah, it's pretty scary. And my advice for people going through fires: get insurance.
Yeah, facts.
And
were you guys insured?
Okay, yeah, but it's a long process.
Yeah, I can imagine. Insurance companies don't want to pay right now.
Nope. And even like firefighters, they're like, I can't even confirm you have a bed here. Like, and I used to work. And I used to work in Michael Kors, and like half of my wardrobe was Michael Kors, and I can't get insured for clothes that was for free.
Because you can't. Yeah, true.
No
That's
way.
true.
Yeah,
you got to present receipts and all that. Like, it's crazy.
It's a mess. But
so what happens next? What's the process of you said that your mom did take some therapy. Is she still doing it?
Yeah, she is. She actually got
good,
these
getting that help.
Yeah, it does help. I see like her like be able, she couldn't talk about it before, now she could talk about it. She got these I don't know if anybody heard of them. They're like pressure point earring things. Like they're like little stickers they put in your pressure point or your ear.
Oh, no
so
way.
They can like help you relax and help you focus and help you calm down. And she, I don't know if it's again mind over matter, but she's like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all some people need, you know? Even if it is a placebo, like they just need something to reassure them that this is gonna help.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of the process.
It's a shock, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was telling you before, like I lost my grandmother in November when she was my abuela. She was, and that hurts way more than a house fire, because even though she was 94 and it's inevitable, losing a grandparent in my mind, it's like breaking your heart kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think losing a parent takes your soul, but losing a grandparent breaks your heart because you're like,
they're like your second.
Yeah, she was like, she'd like raised me and my siblings. So, and seeing her decline and everything, and that when she was gone, even for my mother, was harder for us to cope through that.
Right.
Even though it was, we saw it happen, like, hey, she's not going to last. Yeah. Right. Because like we said before, like I can get the stuff back in a fire, but I can't get my grandma back.
Yeah, no.
I can't get anybody back. And I would go through this fire 100 times more if that means I can have like another year with her or something. But the pain is so different. Because this one is just like sad, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you." But the fire's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, like that's material things. Like, don't get me wrong, a fire does like
no, it does. It is.
You know what I mean?
And some people handle it differently. I met this woman, and she had a fire, and she noticed it and got her whole family out, and they just watched it burn in front of them. Like, luckily, we weren't there. I think people in my building who went there, who experienced and saw the smoke and saw like literally all of that happen, have more trauma than I do, because they experience this like adrenaline to survive kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't even, I'm happy I'm not there. That would have been a double hit.
No facts.
Oh my God, so much. Oh gosh, yeah.
It's so crazy because like for me, I lost all my grandparents when I was like 10.
Oh, okay.
My grandma, like, probably like the one that I was closest to, I was like 6.
Yeah.
So I don't already know what that feels like.
My my dad's dad never met him. He died before I was born. And I think my mom's parents, we lost them when I was pretty young also. Yeah. Like really young.
Do you have any grandparents now? Like at all?
My dad's mom is still alive. She's back home, back in Guyana. And she's like suffering from dementia, which is hard to see.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You have to remind her who we are and sort of thing whenever we talk. I do have to call her, but no, I don't really know what that loss feels like, because I've never experienced that as a.
This was like our first.
You said you were like really close to her, right? Like,
yeah, like she was. My father wasn't around. It was my mother was at work all the time. So my grandmother took us to school, and me and my brothers, and we speak Spanish because of my grandmother. Like, because she only spoke Spanish. She knows like 3 words in English, like no home, 905 to say her the phone number. And the other one is thank you. So she was a woman of many words. And I asked him, like, why don't you learn English? She goes, for what? I don't. If you want to talk to me, you learn my language. I'm like, that's fair.
Gotcha.
And it comes in handy now. So my brothers and I were like, we speak Spanish and stuff. It's pretty cool. So
that's awesome.
And
where's she from? Like
Argentina.
Argentina. Yeah.
Initially she was born in Paraguay, but then she went to Argentina. My grandfather came to Canada, Montreal. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My grandfather wasn't even Spanish. He was like Romanian, and he just knew Spanish. You see how languages just
brings people together. Yeah, for sure.
When you meet people and like when I go on vacation with my girlfriends, like we went to Dominican 2 years ago, and they didn't know a word of Spanish, and I didn't want to speak Spanish because I wanted them to experience the whole thing, right? And they just treat you like, here's this, here's that, here's this. But when I found out they spoke Spanish, oh my God, opportunities came. Here, I'll give you this. Hey, come out, hang out with us. Like that relationships you build from learning all these languages.
You get a sense of community, like
right? You get to know people more than just, hey, I'm in your country. I'm like, tell me about this. Like, do you have any siblings? Do you have any kids? Yeah. And they love it, and they're like, yeah, oh my gosh, it's so great. And because everybody learns English, but I think that we should learn other people's languages.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's one of my goals. I want to learn more than just English. I speak English, but that's it.
I like barely speaking.
Yeah, I speak English, and not even that well.
Not even that well. Not even that good. Yeah.
Well, that made us become really good friends, right? Because you spoke Spanish from your family.
Yeah.
And then I speak it from mine, and we're like second generation Canadian. No, first generation Canadians, but Spanish, like my Spanish, it's so funny. My Spanish is only what my grandmother taught me. So I speak, according to everybody, like an old lady. Like I speak like old Spanish. Like I don't know slang. I don't know these, like my friend,
like
I
Pablo
speak.
Neruda kind of? No, not that old.
Like somebody, like I learned like, ¿qué tal? Like I learned that's a slang because I would just say ¿cómo estás? So like, okay, but like, you know, like have a drink, like ¿qué tal? I'm like, what? Like my grandma never taught me or swear words.
And that's actually my problem too. Like I've never learned English properly because I was always spoken to in Spanish and I had to speak in Spanish.
Yeah.
And then like English, I was just speaking at school.
Right.
So, like I'm neither nor Latino nor like
in between.
Kind of like, what am I? We actually had
what am I?
We actually had an episode, First Generation Canadian. I think it was episode 3, on like the early ones.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about that, like where it's like the difficulties of like because you're half Arab as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like you're born here, but you're like Arab.
Yeah, and people in Saudi Arabia, they're like, "What do you mean?"
And Argentinians think Argentinians think they're European, so like they're not even Latinos. Yeah.
Listen,
they're too high class for us. So.
My grandmother, I remember was talking to someone. Right? Yeah, exactly.
We don't talk about that.
My friend said to me, I was telling him about the fire, and then I was trying to say balcony, and then he was like, "You don't know the word balcony, balcon, right?" And I was like, no, because my whole life we lived in a house and my grandma we didn't ever need the word balcony, right? It's not like I speak like, it was just what she taught me. My vocabulary is abuelita approved. Like, that's it.
Yeah, abuelita approved.
Yeah, that's it. So I learn. I can talk about politics and stuff, but only what my grandma believes. Whatever she knows, right? Like I can talk. It's just words that only she taught me. So
okay, gotcha.
It's just kind of adorable.
How's your Arabic?
Oh my God, so bad. I talk like a 4-year-old.
Oh, gotcha.
It's horrible. When I went to Saudi Arabia and they're like talking to me and I'm like 11, I'm like, I don't know anything. And they wanted me to cover at 11. And I was like so shocked. But I mean, don't bring your toys to somebody else's house and force it, right? So I was I'm in your world. So I guess I'm going to cover and everything. And my uncle's like, you don't cover in Canada? I'm like, have you not seen girls? And what? Like, have you been to Canada?
Yeah, legit.
And my mom's like, you should cover. I'm like, but my dad was like, you should cover. I'm like, but you married a Ford. Like, don't you know this is like, don't you know what your kid's up to? Like, I'm in Canada. And he's like, that doesn't mean anything. I'm like, oh, that doesn't mean anything. It was a crazy experience being in Saudi Arabia too. It's so different going from Argentina to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Like, did you spend like years there? Like
no, I just went there for vacation.
Oh, gotcha.
For like a vacation. I went there to visit my dad for a whole month.
Is he still over there?
Yeah, he's been there my whole life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my mom was a flight attendant. My dad was a pilot engineer. So it's pretty romantic.
Wow.
That's a movie.
I mean, like, how else would they meet? Tinder? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Like
international.
International. Habib Tinder. My dad slides. Hi, Habibi. My dad's I was like, oh my God. Look at this guy.
That's hilarious, but I don't know, but you've actually been going through some crazy stuff. Like that's insane. Because I know it's what we said. Like every time I was gonna try to have her on, and we agreed.
Like, that one time you're like, tell me if you can come for Sunday. I'm like, okay, my grandma's gonna die soon, but I'll let you know. And then that night, my grandma died.
No way.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's okay. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
she died. She heard I was gonna come to the podcast. Like, no, like, me first.
Me first.
No, mijita.
Oh no.
So yeah. everybody goes through their own thing. And after the fire, I was like, should I go back to school? Should I take a breather a couple months? My friend's like, what are you gonna just be behind? Like, life goes on, just go back to school. And that's what I did. And then I moved to the East End and I got a personal trainer and I got a job and I go back to school and I'm like, why? Like, why not make this a success story than I feel bad for you story? It's like, yeah, my house burnt down. Yeah, and I still got my stuff together and I'm doing better than ever, honestly. Like it's so strange. Like 2021 was such a weird year for me for everything. Life can happen, change like that. And it made me such a better person. Like, I don't care about materials, things like I used to. I want experience. I want to travel. Give me a shirt from Walmart. Like, that's my mindset now. It's not like who has the best. No more Michael. I don't care. I don't care.
Legit.
And before I did, all right, that social media presence and everything, and I'm like, my house burned down. What do you want?
That's true. Like these things really do like mature or mindset.
Yeah, it's like a slap in the face.
Oh yeah.
Where's your Michael Kors now? Yeah,
that's for
where's
sure.
your heels now that you used to flaunt? Where's that purse? And I said that it's so funny. I have that little pink purse I have. I take it. That was the purse I had in the fire, and it's my only purse still because I got overwhelmed. My mom and I we went shopping, and I bought all these clothes just for basic necessities for the winter, and I got overwhelmed. And I started crying, and I'm like, I think I just feel overwhelmed that I have all this stuff, and I don't want it to get ripped and taken away from me.
Yeah.
And I had this huge panic attack in the mall, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to just chill. Just have a glass of wine and just relax.
Take a step back, take a breather.
Nothing they say that saying the fire doesn't happen in the same place twice kind of thing, but
or lightning doesn't
or whatever the lightning didn't the fire. It's ironic, but I just think people just going through things it
like
gets better.
That though, like that. It's kind of like a humbling experience. It's not that you need it to be humble. Like I'm just saying, like that experience makes
it just
you think,
it made me
for sure.
And I do. If I'm gonna buy something nice now, I'm like, am I gonna wear this every day? Like I want every day to be a vacation in my head. I want every day to go for a walk.
Worry and stress free.
Just go for a walk. And then COVID just sucks because I would just go to the bar. I wouldn't even get a drink. I just wanted to talk to people and just. I'm just happy to be alive, I guess.
No, legit.
Damn.
Now we're in another lockdown.
Oh
my god, it makes me so angry.
Yeah,
it is so depressing. And I saw the statistic, and it was suicide is higher than COVID loss.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it.
I believe it.
It's just so.
And those are the ones they know of, right?
That's actually exploding it. Yeah,
exactly. It's so difficult to cope when you're locked in and you have limited things you can do. How many times am I going to just go outside for a walk and try to replace what I used to do? Replace the gym or replace going out to the bar, or just hanging out.
For me, because home is supposed to be your safest place, and that wasn't for me. So I'm I have no choice but to be, because my mom couldn't stay home for long. She had to be out. She didn't want to be in a house, especially another condo.
Right.
And now she's we're stuck here, and she's like, oh my God, this is just a bad timing. And I'm positive, whatever. What about some Seinfeld on for a couple hours? I'm good.
Seinfeld.
Yeah. Love that show, but that's my coping mechanism.
Mine is The Office. Mine is The Office.
No, Seinfeld.
Seinfeld's fire.
Seinfeld. I used to watch that when I was younger. It was like that dumb show that came on after school, and you're like, oh, this is just in the background. But now I'm like, this is the best show I've ever watched.
I watched it when I was a teenager, but I watched it again recently. I don't know.
What's wrong? Got a problem with Seinfeld? The show about nothing?
No, you throw hands?
I don't know. It's just it was fun. You know what it is? No, you know what it is? Jerry, he's not that funny. I don't think it's that funny. Everybody
he's actually,
funny.
you know what? He's actually a bad actor. If you see him,
but that's
he starts laughing.
He's a
bad
actor.
What do you mean? There's a fire?
But the show is legit just about him. His name, his actual name.
But I noticed that because I love Kramer, George. George is the funniest.
Oh, Jason Alexander. Right? Yeah, he's
I love them, but I think that's what it was. I noticed his acting.
Just so embarrassing. It's secondhand embarrassing. You're your car got robbed and you're just totally fine with this. I'm this doesn't happen.
You feel embarrassed that this was actually on TV. Yeah.
So that's what you've been doing, I guess.
And I had a personal trainer. We just had our last session last week because of COVID, and that was my waking up in the morning, getting my frustration out. Oh, F this fire.
Wake up and do your thing. Yeah.
Oh God.
I get that.
Oh my God, my shirt, my favorite shirt. But so I'm sad though, because in my head, I feel when this place is rebuilt and we go back, I don't actually think everything's gone. I think that's why I'm also coping with it, because I'm like, oh, everything, because I haven't been back. So everything's going to be back in place when I walk in there. So it's going to be weird to see just empty.
Yeah.
Restart, new bed, new TV, new, like the little things, the little knickknack I had on my stand, that picture of me, my family, like that's all gone. And that's like, I think that's going to hit me in April, and I'm going to be like, oh my god, yeah, I'm gonna lock that balcony door.
Reappliance the whole place, like get like new appliances.
Well, I just want to say too to everybody that donated to our GoFundMe and shared it and stuff. Like, thanks so much.
We'll put it in the description as well.
Yeah, it's been like 5 months, and we did pretty well. So even if you don't donate, just share it or whatever, and it's helped so much, you know. And knowing that, like, definitely. Especially with, we were talking about insurance before. We could talk about that another time because I don't think we have much time, but. Like it's a long process, and they don't just give you it like that. They have to do a whole assessment.
They give you a whole runaround. They don't want to. That's the thing about insurance companies. It's all a scam. Like they well, not really a scam, but they just don't want to pay. And it's frustrating because it's your money. You know what I mean? And they don't even pay out like essentially like
what your value was.
Exactly, the right value.
And you were saying they've been backlogged as well, right?
Oh, because of COVID. Yeah, because when I got into the accident with the car, the guy that I hit, like, he literally told me, if you go through insurance, I won't get this money until this date. Look, I need this car like ASAP. I've got a family. I felt bad for the guy, right? Also because my insurance was also going to go up, right? So I was like, you know what, man, like, this is my fault. If I were in your shoes, I'd want somebody to pay me up. I'd want somebody to like own up to what they do. That's awesome of you, dude. Right? So I literally I sent the guy the money, and you know what, just before Christmas, the week before, he sent me like $500 back.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey man, look, I don't need this money. Like,
because he knew you were a good guy.
Yeah,
and he wasn't trying to rip you. It was just things happen to good people. Bad things happen. It just happened to people. It just sucks.
It sucks.
It just sucks.
I was like, man, that money was like a blessing to me, bro. Like, literally, like, I was like, thank you so much, bro. Like, he's the nicest guy ever. Shout out to uncle that I hit, man.
the uncle that I hit.
Poor guy. He's like watching this, like,
legit.
Yeah.
Yo, I have a theory on that to close off. Like, I didn't want to focus on like getting over this or whatever, but like to what you're saying about like bad things happen, whatever. I think I always had this theory, which is like every once in a while, like you have to test that, like just how you test the gold in the fire.
Yeah,
you have to, like, if you consider yourself a decent person or a good person, like you can be a good person today, and then tomorrow something happens, you'll like stop being good.
Yeah,
so these things happen to maybe once in a while to check up and be like, hey, like, are you sure you're still?
Yeah, it's true.
Right? So it's like a little like humbling experience where you really be like, no.
You know what actually like pisses me off though? Like, I'm only 24. Like, life is still going on, so more crappy things are gonna happen. Like more things are gonna happen to me. Like, this isn't it. Like, this is like this is just
true.
Well, hopefully more good things now. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah,
right?
Mind over matter.
There's seasons though, right? Like, there's a saying, right, that it's simple, but it's helped me in everything. It says, there's no bad storm that lasts 100 years.
Right.
There's no storm that lasts 100 years. So like, no matter what, like, it's kind of like Jordan Peterson was saying. He goes like life is suffering, but the happy moments, they rarely come, or they scarcely come. So when they do, just enjoy it.
I think everybody lives for the next happy moment.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps going on because they want to get that feeling again.
Yeah.
So even though this happened to me, I'm like, I know a good moment's going to happen again. And instead of waiting for it, like, just make it happen.
Exactly. Do that. Make that step and make that happen.
Because
and I made it happen. Like, I'm living proof. Like, my home burned down, my grandmother's gone, and I'm not the happiest I've ever been, but I'm in a good place where I'm like, this.
Well, the options that you have, right? Like sulk around,
right? Sulk, just stop doing school, stop talking to my friends. You know, just sit around, feel bad for myself, and I don't need to feel bad for. I can feel bad for myself in moderation and in reality. Like, okay, I'll feel
human,
bad. I'm still alive. That's all I think about. My mother's alive. I'm alive, and like, it's just sucks for people that don't get to say that have fires or something, and they do lose somebody, and their coping is completely different than mine. And this is just what I can say. I can't speak for people who went through that. So I think I got lucky.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. And that's the thing, right? Like, it's you have the choice to make it worse or to make it better.
Exactly.
Right? With the situation you're given, I mean, right? Because obviously there's some situations that we bring upon ourselves, and there's some situations that just life brings upon you.
Yeah, you just can't see some things coming, and that's okay. That's part of life.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like picking yourself up when you get knocked down and just keep going.
It's crazy because the only way to guarantee to not suffer is to not care about anything. If you didn't give a damn about your abuelita, like, you wouldn't have suffered, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. If you didn't if you were super rich and you give a damn about your money, it's like, hey, I can get it again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But when you really like love something and
appreciate
every things, you're always gonna suffer, and that's why life is suffering. But it's like a beautiful thing because like your abuelita lived till like she was 95. You had that. Like mine died when she was like in her mid 50s, and I was like 6. I never had that.
Well, that helped me cope
what I
with
scarcely remember. Like she loved me, whatever, but I was 6. I can't imagine like now, like being sad and going to her house and hugging her. Like, I will never.
I spent the last weekend with her. So she died on a Monday, and I was with her Saturday and Sunday by myself with her. Wow. And she was at like a really rough state. Like she wasn't opening her eyes, and she was just laying there, and it's coming.
Was it in her house?
It was in my aunt's house. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And like I just sang to her, and I played like Julio Iglesias, and I just sang, and I said like I love you and thank you for everything. Like I even got closure for death, and people don't get that sometimes. Yeah. And I got closure, and I was like 94, way to go. Like I was celebrating the life rather than being sad she's gonna leave. I'm like, you can go now, abuelita. Like thanks for everything. I love you. You were my best friend. I said that when she was conscious, when I knew she was going down, and she nodded and like acknowledged me, and like she wasn't talking, but I was just crying to her, and I was like, you can go, just go, tranquila, and everything's gonna be okay. And then the next day she passed away. So I was just it just made me feel so good. I'm like, okay, I got my closure. So never take a day for granted.
And you know how rare that is? Like that experience is so scarce.
I know and she died with her kids all around her. With her, all 4 of them. And she just went peacefully in her sleep. Like, how much better do you want from them? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, what else? Her kids were there, and she went in her sleep, and it wasn't painful. I'm like, wow, that's in my head. Yeah, it sucks, but I'm lucky. I'm another, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, you know what, Lo? Like, by the time you're 26, 27, you should write a book. like honestly,
Lost in the Flames.
getting kidnapped.
Getting kidnapped, but returning.
I put that as the title of the podcast when she came on. I'm like, getting kidnapped.
Not kidnapped. Almost burned. Something like that. It's great.
I don't actually go write a book because when life shits on you, like you've got to just take the lemons that you like, whatever, and make lemonade, like they say. You know, like
love lemonade.
Just do what you can with it.
Just don't spike it. No, don't Julio.
Just put a cigarette anyway. Yeah.
No, but thank you for sharing that. I know it was probably hard and everything.
Thank you for coming on.
It's moments like these that I hope somebody can listen to it and like, and then reach out to me and be like, oh my God, I went through the same thing, or how did you do this?
And I was like kind of debating this because I don't want you to think that it's like, oh, like so you can tell your stories or like for views or whatever.
No, it's not even about
it's
that.
For you, like, and that's what I've noticed, like to vent about it for people to learn, like especially this what we're talking about right now that we're ending, like. How like, we choose to overcome these things. To sulk,
right.
You can sulk over like breaking your nail, right? Or you can not sulk over like losing your entire house.
Exactly.
It's that crazy, right?
Take your moments.
Yeah. Exactly.
Give yourself 5 minutes a day to sulk, and then do something else. I did that. I was like crying. Okay, that's it. Stop crying. Do something else.
Figure out what you need. Like the sooner you can try to get yourself out of that like mind frame and mindset, the sooner you will, because you're gonna keep trying, and then like after a while you won't want to be
and I was lucky enough to kind of get myself out of the hole, but don't be afraid to ask for help at all. My mom 100%. Did, and she helped her out, and I was just lucky enough to
you have that
to have that. It's not even like being stronger, it's just my brain was wired that way, and I just forced myself to think that way,
right?
And maybe I would have coped and accepted this sooner if I did get help, it took me a while, but
exactly.
That's just how I did it, and everybody like, oh my God, therapy is the best. I used to do it before, and it helps you so much.
Good.
Oh no, fact.
Yeah,
I'm so happy that you're doing better, and I mean, no matter what, you have us. You have the audience as well.
Yeah, no,
so thank you for coming.
Thank you guys.
Coming by.
No problem. Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Yeah. So, thank you once again for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.
Yep.
We're gonna roll out that merch, but I can't maybe do like a promotional video or something.
We can do that. We can do like reels or something.
Yeah, we can do that. Try to get that out there, just some merch and give back. Yeah. We might do like a giveaway. I have a special edition like shirt.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I made it differently from all the other ones, but just one. Yeah. It's really nice.
Hey,
like I sent it.
I lost all my clothes.
Damn it, you can't do that. No. I'm gonna make 2 now.
Like a secret. Don't tell anyone.
We're gonna cut that part out. But so keep an eye out for that. But thank you guys for joining us, and see you guys on the next one.